Welcome to the Wealth Mindset. I hope you're having a productive journey in your pursuit to create wealth. And as always, my goal is simple to help you walk in wealth mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. To take the things that God has already given you and use those to create a life of purpose so that wealth is more than just what you acquire. Wealth is who you become. You are the wealth. It's not your investments. It's not your real estate. It's not your business. It's you. But before you have any of those things, you have a unique and specific set of talents, abilities, gifts, ideas, habits, disciplines, and inclinations that form the basis of everything that you do in this world. And once you tap into that, you build wealth in your life. Listen, today I want to talk about becoming the wealth. How do you become the wealth? How do you become the asset? And unfortunately, that's the hardest part. You hear me talk about wealth all the time. Wealth is the separation of time and money. The only way we separate our time from our money is to own and control things of value. We call those things assets. And there's only three ways to acquire assets: buy assets, create assets, and become an asset. Buying assets, hey, buying things of value, stocks, bonds, real estate, land, businesses, artwork. That's discipline. Take your discretionary income and buy things of value. Creating things of value. When you start a business, you are creating something that hasn't existed before. You are creating an entity that has value separate and apart from yourself. Create assets. But again, before you have any of those things, the goal is to become an asset. How do you become the wealth? How do you become the asset? How do you become the thing that attaches value to your life? That's not easy to do. Because, like I said last week, people can tell you what to do, but they can't tell you where to go. We all understand the things that it takes, the requirements for success: hard work, discipline, integrity, work ethic, perseverance, right? All of those things are baseline foundational things that you need to be successful in this world. But your success is different from my success, which means the impact of discipline on your life is going to be different from the impact of discipline on my life. The impact of hard work, of creativity, of all of the things that I'm using my talents and abilities and gifts to do, I'm going to have a different result. And so, unfortunately, I can't tell you where to go. Even though I can tell you that you need to do all of these things to get there, it's up to you to figure it out. That's why becoming the wealth is so difficult, is because you have to discover who you are. You have to look in the mirror. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to take an assessment of your God given talents, abilities, and gifts and answer the question: how can I use these in this world to create value? How can I use what I have to create value in this world? That's a question that you're going to have to answer. And, a lot of times when I speak at high schools, when I speak to college students, I talk about the process of discovery. I tell them that you have to first know yourself. You have to understand your purpose, your why. You have to have a word. You have to know the sum total of your human capital, your talents, abilities, and gifts. You have to know yourself. But once you know yourself, that's not enough. Once you realize what you have, that's not enough. That's just a seed. A seed only has potential. And that potential can turn it into a fully grown and productive tree, or that seed can wither away and die. So knowing yourself is just the first step. but that's not enough. First, you have to know yourself, but then you have to grow yourself. You have to take what you know about yourself and you have to develop it. You have to cultivate it. You have to nurture it. You have to work on it. You have to excel through repetition. You have to excel through difficulty, through failure. I always say you have to go to failure. If you work out, you understand that concept. Going to failure is when you push your body to its absolute limit till you can't do another exercise. And the reason why that's so effective is because when you push your body to its absolute limit until it fails, then your body has to go back and replenish itself, regenerate its own energy, recoup, rest. But then it prepares itself to handle that level of stress and just a little bit more. And so the next time you do that exercise, not only can you do it a little bit easier, but you can go a little bit further. And so that's why you have to go to failure. Life is the same way. You cannot stretch your talents and abilities. You cannot expand your gifts if you don't go to failure. If you always stay in the comfort zone, if you always do the same exercise every single day, if you never increase the weight, if you never increase the stress, if you never put yourself in a difficult situation, if you never put yourself in a situation where you have to make a decision, if you never put yourself in a circumstance where you have to test what God gave you, then you're not going to stretch it. You're not going to grow it. You aren't going to expand it. And so it is extremely important that you grow yourself. That once you've identified your seed, your talents, your abilities, your gifts, you have to develop it. You have to grow it. And the thing about that is development is a lifelong journey. It's not like graduating college. It's not like just finishing one thing and that's it. Development is a lifelong journey. You are a lifelong student. You're constantly growing. You are constantly developing. But you have to be committed to growing yourself. In the beginning, you find that talent, you find that gift, you find that ability, and you work on it. You practice on it. You develop it. You expand it. You challenge it. You do all of those things so that it can continue to expand. It can continue to grow. You got to grow yourself. It's not enough to be talented. You have to develop it. You have to grow yourself. And then lastly, you have to show yourself. Know yourself, grow yourself, and show yourself. Once you've identified your purpose, you know who you are. Once you've grown yourself and you've developed yourself into the person that you need to become, the last step is you got to show yourself. You have to trust the work and the effort that you've put in. You have to trust the process. You have to be confident. You have to have so much of a belief in the work that you've put in and what you've done that you are ready to test it in the world. You're ready to take on the biggest challenges. You're ready to do whatever it takes. You have to show yourself. Life is full of difficulties. You do not become a good driver by driving in a straight line. You're going to have to hit some curves. You're going to hit some bumps. You're going to avoid some things. But you got to show yourself. You got to trust the process. You have to be confident that you have taken what God gave you and expanded it. Know yourself, grow yourself, and show yourself. Because again, it's not enough just to have the talent. When you're trying to become the wealth, you have to be committed to that thing. You have to be committed to that thing that you've chosen, so much so that it becomes second nature. You got to be committed to that thing. That's how you develop yourself. And in the beginning, you don't have any skills. You may have raw talent, but you have to develop that. You have to improve and increase the value that you give to the world. Once it becomes monetizable, once it becomes a value to other people, guess what? They become willing to pay for it. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you're in medical school, if you become an attorney, you're an engineer, you have a physical talent in sports, in singing, you play a musical instrument, whatever it is, the more you develop it, the more specialized it becomes and the more valuable it is. The more money you can require for your time. See, people think you can't become wealthy when you have an employer, but that's not true. Because if you have specialized skills that nobody can do, that employer is going to pay you a premium for that. And when you earn that premium, when you earn that two, three, four, five, $600,000 a year, you have to repeat the wealth process. You have to take those earnings and buy assets, create assets, or reinvest in yourself to become more of an asset. That's the whole wealth process. In the beginning, you got to work for your money. You have to trade your time for money. But the decisions that you make during that process determine how fast you become wealthy. Are you taking that earnings? Are you buying things of value? Are you investing your money? What rate of return are you getting on those assets? Life is math. Every decision you make is a mathematical calculation. If you're seeking financial independence, it is a mathematical equation. That's it. If you make $100,000 a year and you want to be financially independent, then you're going to need to figure out how to replace the money that you have to trade your time for. If you retire at 60 years old and live 30 years, $100,000 a year times 30 is $3 million. So in that case, you need a minimum of $3 million just to replace that income. That's not including inflation. That's not including taxes. That's not including any changes in your expenses. That's just a baseline mathematical problem. And so then the question is, if you're 35 or 40 years old and you want to retire at 60 on $100,000, you have 20 to 25 years to accumulate $3 million. So how are you going to do that? You have to buy assets, create assets, and become an asset. Now, if we do the math on that, then there's a certain amount of money that you're going to have to put away every single month, every single year. There's a certain rate of return that you're going to have to get every single month, every single year. And there's a certain amount of discipline that you're going to have in putting away your assets every single month and every single year. Building wealth is not sexy. It is discipline. It is methodical. It's not anything glamorous. It takes a certain level of labor, a certain level of discipline, and a certain level of commitment. But in the beginning, you have to put all of that discipline and all of that commitment into developing yourself into something that adds value in this world. And that's how you start. Wealth mindset. I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful Monday. Stay productive and let's make it happen. Change begins from within. I'll see y'all tomorrow.